Are you stuck shooting the same scores week after week? You know you have more birdies in you, but your body's letting you down? Today, you're getting an all-access pass to the exact training day that transforms your average golfer into a birdie machine. This isn't just swinging a club. This is built for birdies. Now, the first exercise we're gonna be doing is a foot elevated alternating groiner extension rotation. So Nate's gonna be coming in. So you wanna have an elevated surface like a bench. He's gonna be then stepping up, bringing his foot onto the bench. Then from here, he's gonna take his hand, place it behind his head, and he's gonna open up. Then he's gonna switch sides going back and forth. Now this is working on a few key things. So number one, we have this nice hip separation. This helps to work on hip extension on his trailing leg, allowing you to really open up that leg, and then hip flexion on the other side, which is gonna be really beneficial. That way you're good at opening into your leg. Then, additionally, it helps work on thoracic rotation, which is a critical detail that we really want to maximize and encourage for individuals. So now he's doing 6 per side to start off with. Key thing again is we're gonna take our time, sink it in, try to really get those hips nice and opened, and then rotate up. So as he's doing this, he's thinking to push down the bench and drive his elbow up to the roof. That way his chest turns. We don't want to just reach back with that elbow. Now, once he's done 6 per side, then we'll transition to our second exercise. All right, now we're getting into the side lying hip external rotation. Now for this exercise, you're gonna be laying on that bench that you were just using. Then from here, you're gonna be thinking about having your legs flexed. So you're gonna have your knees towards your chest. Then we're gonna have the top leg planted on the bench. Then with this down leg, you're gonna let your foot drop down towards the floor, and then you're gonna pull your foot up. So as you're doing that, that's hip external rotation. As your foot goes towards the ground, that's eccentric internal rotation. Now we're doing this because it's gonna help to really allow you to develop better range of motion on your hips, particularly that one that you're gonna be turning into, as it's gonna increase the mobility for internal rotation and the strength for external rotation. You're gonna perform 10 reps, then we'll switch sides. Now, a lot of times people will rush through this, but as you can see, Nate's going through and really taking his time. So let's go over a few major details with it once he switches sides. So again, we're gonna do 10 reps per side. So now as you see, he's got his hips flexed. That bottom foot, he's gonna let that foot sink towards the ground. He's gonna really encourage it down, not just let it flop down. And then he's gonna raise up using as much active external rotation as he has, and then going back down. And he's gonna purposefully try to lower it down, sinking into that range. So it's a very active motion. Even though we're just lowering, we wanna have good control with it. So then we're gonna go through having as much range as we can, really encouraging some good strength development for those end ranges for 10 reps per side. Then we'll transition into our third exercise. Now we're having a look at the third exercise, the supine knee extender. So we're gonna be laying on our back. We're gonna have our one leg hugged in towards our chest. Then from here, you're gonna be extending your leg up. So lengthening out those hamstrings. We're gonna pause for a moment at the top, then we're gonna come back down and then repeat. Key thing that we're trying to do here is keep that leg flexed in and then extend at the knee. And what this is gonna do is really challenge the length of our hamstrings, because our hamstrings are gonna help to extend our hip and then flex our knee. And so here we're coupling those actions in opposite to stretch the hamstring. So he's gonna perform 10, then he'll switch sides. As you can see, he's really taking a nice moment to pause at the top on each one to encourage that key stretch position. Nice. So now when he's here, he's bringing that knee in, hugging it in tight, using his hands to support, then stand up, pause, and repeat. And you can look, this is a unilateral exercise, so do you see a difference side to side? And then you can emphasize that side, really take an extra moment on it, or even performing a few extra reps on it. You can also notice that Nate's playing around with his foot position. There's no correct answer here because it depends on a few things, but in general, we tend to encourage that toe being pulled back towards you as it increases the overall stretch. Okay, now that's the 3 main exercises for the initial part of the warm-up. You can go through those a second time, so feel free to pause or replay. And now we're gonna transition into the next segment of the workout. Now that we're done the warm-up, we're gonna move into our shoulder and hip development block. For this, we've got 3 exercises. The first one is this incline Cuban press. So Nate's gonna get started. So you're gonna be laying face down on an inclined bench. Somewhere around a 45-degree angle is ideal. The lower you are, the harder it is. Then from here, he's got 2 dumbbells. He's gonna be starting off with them down. He's then gonna bring his elbows straight up to the side, making sure that they're nice and high. And then he's gonna rotate his hands back and up while keeping his elbows in place. So what we don't want is that his elbows drop down as he's going. So we'll see a bad rep here. Exactly. So as he goes, elbows are up and out. They stay up and out as he rotates back and then punches towards the wall out in front of him, comes back down, and then reverses. And he's gonna do this for 10 total reps. Now, this is a very challenging exercise. You might find that you wanna just use no weight, or you might find 5, 10 pounds is sufficient. Okay, so now that we're done that, we're gonna move into our second exercise for the block, which is a bear crawl. Now we're gonna do our bear crawl. So for this exercise, you're gonna be on your hands and knees. We want our shoulders stacked over our hands, and we want our hips stacked over our knees. He's gonna lift up just off the ground, and then from here, he's gonna walk opposite arm and leg. It's gonna be transitioning, and the goal is to go 10 meters total. So he's gonna go out. If you have 10 meters of space, you can go continuously. In this case, Nate's gonna turn around. Now, as he's going, you're gonna see that he's taking small steps, and he's minimizing his trunk moving. So he's not swaying all over the place. We wanna try to really emphasize a strong, stable trunk position, not having it flop all over the place. So you wanna do 10 meters, then we'll move into our third exercise. Now we're into our third exercise, the seated good morning. So for this, you're gonna be seated on a bench. You're gonna think to have your feet nice and wide. Then from here, you're gonna try to let that chest drop towards the floor. Now, Nate is crushing this. Let's see a little bit easier example. So typically what we're gonna see is something more like this. And what we're gonna be really emphasizing here is the development of strength and control through our hips. So as he's going, he's trying to pull himself down while keeping his chest nice and tall. And so we don't want to just fall and round over. To show a bad example, so as he comes up to the start, instead of controlling through those hips, a lot of people will just fold over. So instead we want to be nice and tall. He maintains as much of an extended position as he can, and then he lowers down, trying to challenge those hips to open up and get into those deep ranges. Now we're gonna do this for 10 reps. As you're going, take time, try to really keep working on pulling that pelvis through and having good control through it. So that's gonna be your seated good morning. Take your time, work on it, and get those hips nice and open. Now in our horizontal power block. For this, we're gonna be starting off with this horizontal leap with band resistance. So as you see, Nate's got a band wrapped around his hips. It's then anchored nice and well. And then from here, he's gonna be driving out and extending forward. He's gonna swing his arms back, his hips are gonna go back, and he drives out and then sticks the landing. So again, key things, his arms and hips move together, so they swing back, and then as he drives out, his arms come forward and he extends his hips forward. And the band resistance helps to provide a few key things. Number one, it encourages him to push harder, which is great, but then also it actually deloads his landing, allowing us to get in some really good quality work with less stress overall on the landing, which is a beneficial option for when people are getting into this sort of work at first. So once he's done the 5, we're then gonna transition to the floor and get into our power work for the upper body. So now we're getting into our supine med ball throw. This is gonna be working on driving and accelerating out with the upper body. So you can see Nate's got a med ball in, he's gonna bring it down, and he's gonna drive up, catch, and then go to the next rep. So he's gonna do 5 of those. Make sure you lock in that drive. There we go. Key points, you're really trying to emphasize pushing out and extending up, scale and adjust it based upon your ability to control it though. So once you're done that, we can then repeat this for our second set. You can pause or replay it, or you can move on with us into our strength block. Now we're into our strength block. We're gonna be focusing on a hinge movement and an upper body push. So we're gonna be utilizing the dumbbell RDL here. So Nate's got 2 dumbbells, 1 in each hand in front of him, and then here he's gonna be hinging. So think about pushing his hips back towards the wall, a small slight knee bend to really load up those hamstrings and to challenge his glutes. Then from here, he's gonna stand up and drive his hips through. Now he's gonna be performing 8 repetitions. This would be 8. And he's utilizing a 3-1-1-1 tempo. So that means he's got a 3-second lower, a 1-second pause, 1-second rise, and a 1-second pause for each repetition. So he's gonna go through this for 8 reps. As he's going, he's really trying to keep working on challenging those hamstrings, emphasize tension there, and then pushing through and finishing with his glutes. Now he has a significant amount of range of motion here. You don't necessarily have to use that much range. You might be starting off where you're just bringing your knuckles down to your top of your knees and then bringing back to finish. Whatever's your starting point. So once you're done that, we're then gonna get into our dumbbell bench press. So he's gonna come lay down. Now for the dumbbell bench press, we have the same overall parameters. So we've got 8 reps, a 3-1-1-1. So he's got 3 seconds down, 1 second pause, 1 second up, 1 second pause at the top. As he's doing that, major things he's thinking about. Number 1, chest up. Having our chest up is going to encourage our shoulder blades to be in a better position, give a little bit more freedom of movement in that bottom position, and allow us to get a better stretch. Then he's trying to have his hands stay above his elbows. So we don't want is as we go down to have our hands inside our elbows, excessively challenging our triceps and limiting us. We also want to maintain a good overall position of where we're not super flared out, but also not too tucked in. We want that nice, sweet middle zone. So he's going to perform 8 repetitions, then finish. Now, this we would repeat for 3 total sets. So you can either pause and then repeat the other 2 sets, or you can move on with us and get into our accessories. Now we're going to get into our first grouping for accessories. This is going to be the split stance 1-arm cable row. So you're going to be starting off, we have a cable setup, and then you want to have a nice long split stance. So the side that's holding is going to take a nice long step back. And then we're going to use our front leg to help support us from that pulling force that we're not getting pulled over. Then he's going to take his hand, and he's thinking about bringing his hand to his lower ribs, and then allowing his arm to reach out. As he's doing that, he's going to try to minimize his chest from excessively turning back and really focus on that shoulder blade gliding back. As we're going, we're not thinking necessarily about how far we can pull our hand back to encourage our shoulder to dump forward, but instead how far can we bring our shoulder back and then having our hand come in line with our ribs. So he's going to perform 10 reps, then he'll switch sides. Beautiful. So you can see again, he switches arms, he switches legs. He's got that opposite leg planting there. That way it helps to resist him from falling forward. And then he's going to be thinking about pulling. Now, if you want, you can have this other arm involved in the rotation. Some people find that it helps, but key things, we're really trying to encourage that shoulder blade to come back and then driving that elbow down and back along with it. You don't want to have that arm come in and come really high. We're not focusing on your biceps. Your biceps will work, but we're really trying to emphasize challenging all of your pulling musculature together. So now once he's done his 10 reps, we're then going to transition into our cable side bend. So you could lower your cable stack down. We have a second one set up here. So he's going to move out a little bit from the rack. And then he's going to have a nice stationary stance with about hip width apart. And then here he's going to be holding on to the side that's close, other hand on his hips. And he's going to then be side bending and then pulling back and over. And this is going to allow us to really challenge his obliques and trunk musculature to get into a nice long length and then develop their strength at that length. So as he goes down, he's then going to pull all the way over and then going back and forth. As he's doing this, he's trying to minimize twisting and turning. He wants his hips to stay pointed forward, chest to stay pointed forward. We don't want to start turning that trunk and getting our accessory muscles, but instead keep it targeted at the muscles that we're trying to intentionally work. So to perform 10, then he's going to turn and do his other side. So again, we want to make sure we get a little bit further out. That way you have space to go down. So experiment and find that right spot. He's going to sink down and then pull over. Now again, this is a unilateral exercise, so you might notice a different side to side. It's pretty common. And so what we want to do is try to really use as much range that we have on each side. See, okay, how does this feel to side bend over, pull all the way across? Do I feel symmetrical in both my range and my strength? So we're going to go through challenging that. And once you've done 10 per side, then we're going to reset. So for this pairing, we've got 2 sets of the movements. Then we're going to be repeating them. So if you want, you can pause here, reset, play it over, or you can move on with us into the next pairing. Now we're going to dive into our final pairing. Now this is going to be 2 exercises focusing on directly on your hips. So the first one that we're going to do is called a supine band abduction isometric. So you're going to be laying on your back. We're going to have our knees bent in a bridge position. We're going to have a band around the knees. From here, we're going to have our roughly hip width position. And then we're going to be thinking to break that band for 45 seconds. So a couple key things while Nathan's going. We're going to keep our hips flat on the ground. We're going to try to have our feet, again, about a hip width position. You can experiment with what feels right for you, but our big emphasis here is on developing the lateral sides of the hip with this exercise. This is a really important one to work on for golf as it has a lot of transfer to our rotational positions. So as we're here holding, we're thinking to drive out the whole time. You want to try to find a good band that doesn't limit you. If the band is too light, you're going to limit how hard you push into it. So it's important to have a strong band that you can push into. Now we're going to hold for 45 continuous seconds here. So thinking to push hard. Keep going, baby. You got 5 seconds left now. So once he's done that, then we're going to transition to our second exercise. And good. Okay. So we're going to take this band off. Now we're going to get into a squeeze. So before we were working on abduction, now we're working on adduction. So squeezing the ball in. So we're going to go for 45 seconds again and go. So similar overall concept with that back nice and flat. We want the knees bent around a 90-degree position. And then with this setup, we're aiming for around a 60-degree hip angle. So you can see from the ground and then 60 degrees up. And it's gonna put us in a specific position. Across the Built for Birdies program, we challenge you to train different hip angles in a specific fashion. And so on this day, we're directly targeting around 60 degrees. So we're gonna hold for that 30 or for 45 seconds continuously. He's at 30 seconds right now. And really trying to challenge those adductor muscles, which are really important hip rotators. So he's got 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Boom. So we've got the abduction and the adduction, and you'll be doing that for 2 sets each. So you can either pause here and replay it over, or we'll get into the breakdown. And that's day 2 of phase 1 of Built for Birdies. Built for Birdies is our program that we've designed to help golfers maximize their performance on the course and feel great as they crush it. Now, if you're interested in seeing the rest of Built for Birdies, there are 3 total days with 3 phases of programming built out to make sure that you feel ready to absolutely dominate out there. You can check out the link down below for Built for Athletics, our programming service that helps to maximize athletic performance, giving you everything that you need to be an absolute unit out there. Catch you guys in the next video.